So we have some most missed questions from our test on cells to go over today. There are going to be 4 of them, and we are going to start with number 22. So this question really came down to looking at a model of a cell and being able to identify different organelles, which is tricky because not all models of the cell are going to look the same. So there are certain things that we need to always look out for. Like I like to tell my students that the Golgi is usually going to look like a stack of pancakes. The ER will look like a road for the proteins or worms. This one we had to distinguish the difference between a chloroplast and a mitochondria. So if I zoom in here, I see that number 2 has these little discs, these circular discs. So that tells me number 2 would be a chloroplast. When I look at the structure of a chloroplast, you can see these thylakoid stacks right here, these little discs. These are going to be a giveaway that this is the chloroplast in any model of a cell. When I look at number 3, I see this squiggly line. Okay, that is going to be my green flag that this is the mitochondria. When I look at a picture of a mitochondria up close, they have this thing called the matrix, and that sort of presents itself as this squiggly line, as you see in all these different pictures. Okay, so that was actually the trickiest part of that question, identifying each organelle. Now I just have to see which one of these options is true. So organelle 2, which is the chloroplast, obtains sunlight and turns it into sugar. I know that's true. Organelle 5 allows sugars to move across the cell. That's just the white space here, the cytoplasm. And organelle 3 breaks the sugars down into energy. That is what the mitochondria does. So A would be correct. The second most chosen answer here was B, which says organelle 6 allows sugars into the cell. Organelle 5 allows sugars to move across the cell. For 2 to break into energy. So 2 is a chloroplast. That is not what turns our food into energy, right? That is what makes food. But I think the misconception there was people thought this was a mitochondria. Just remembering, look for those little stacks, these discs, that tells me it's a chloroplast. That squiggly line, the matrix, tells me it is a mitochondria. Okay, let's check out question 17. Go to question 17. This was actually the most missed question. So it is asking me to put active transport and cellular respiration in the correct categories in this chart. Okay, the tricky thing about this, one of these is already full, but I'm not paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to what category do these fit in. So we have obtaining nutrients, which is getting needed materials into the cell. We have reproduction, which is one cell splitting. We have energy needs, so creating energy or turning food into energy. And then waste removal, getting rid of waste. So I'm going to start with active transport. So active transport, to me, that is things coming into the cell or leaving the cell using energy, using ATP. I could see that fitting in either waste removal or in obtaining nutrients. So I'm going to eliminate A because they put it in reproduction. I'm going to eliminate B, okay, because they put it into energy needs. Getting rid of things and getting things into the cell, sometimes both of those things will take active transport. Then I need to put cellular respiration in the right category. B says putting it into reproduction. C says putting it into energy needs. Well, what is cellular respiration? That is the process of breaking down food and turning it into energy. So that is the definition of energy needs. Cellular respiration has nothing to do with mitosis, with the cell dividing. It has everything to do with energy needs. So I would put active transport in obtaining nutrients, getting things into the cell, and place cellular respiration in energy needs. So C was my correct option there. Even though energy needs was already full, I'm not paying attention to that. I want to know where cellular respiration would best fit, and that would be here. Um, let's do number 26. Okay, so list in order all the parts of the cell involved in getting oxygen into your cells so it can help release energy. So when I hear getting something into your cells, I know the first barrier that it has to cross is the cell membrane. So I can automatically eliminate C and D here because it wants it in order. So the first thing it will cross is the cell membrane. Okay. Next, both of these say the cytoplasm. Oxygen will move through the cytoplasm. Okay, and then they get different here. So lysosomes and then mitochondria, or just mitochondria. The key here, does oxygen need to be broken down, or can it even be broken down? The lysosomes are used when we have large molecules to break them down. Oxygen is not one of those large molecules, so it will not go to the lysosomes. Okay, oxygen would go directly to the mitochondria where it's needed for cellular respiration because it is an ingredient for that process. So it passes the cell membrane, travels through the cytoplasm, and then reaches the mitochondria for respiration. Okay, and finally, number 29. Patients with a genetic condition called cystic fibrosis struggle with symptoms such as lung and digestive problems. At the cellular level, the cells of patients with the disease do not transport water or other materials out of the cell efficiently. And I'm going to keep that highlighted. Therefore, patient cells have a buildup of water and other substances. So to me, what I think tripped up my students was hearing the word buildup, right? Because when we hear buildup, we think, maybe something isn't getting rid of waste properly. So could it be the lysosomes? That was the second most chosen answer here. But the key part of this passage was the cells of patients with the disease do not transport water or other materials out of the cell efficiently. If the cell is not able to transport things in and out, the organelle that is malfunctioning is going to be the cell membrane. Okay? Because the cell membrane is not working properly, it cannot get things in and out. That means that there is not going to be as much cellular transport, meaning it cannot maintain that stable environment. It cannot maintain homeostasis. So the key here, cannot transport water or other materials out of the cell. That right there is the giveaway to me that they are talking about the cell membrane. Okay, those were the 4 most missed questions on the test on cells, and hopefully the retake goes a little better.